What's up, you guys? Check out this really cool creek that I found. Goes across here, across this beautiful little bridge, wooden bridge. It's nice and peaceful. There's not a lot of people out on this trail. I want to say a couple things. I was watching a video the other day, and the guy had a really good point. And his point was, if the law, basically, if Jesus died on the cross and all that stuff, that means that all of us have it a lot more easier than the people that had to abide by the law and the Torah. And why would God do that? Why would God make it so hard for his people before Jesus, and then have Jesus come, and then it'd just be so much more easier, right? Because of Jesus, what Jesus has sacrificed, right? And my answer to that is, well, because God is God and he can do whatever he wants. And I don't think you guys liked that answer. I don't think you guys liked the questions that I had to ask about it either. And you guys weren't willing to answer my questions. You were just willing to make a slandering video of me. You didn't even speak for yourself. You had somebody else make a slandering video of me. I mean, sorry, it's really hot today. I've been hiking really hard today, so. And say such hateful things, such hateful, vile things that you said about me. And I think you knew I had a point. And my point was, well, one of my points was, well, God is God and he can do whatever he wants. And my other point was, well, why would God have his people go through the plagues in Egypt? And let me explain myself a little more on that part. Yes, God's people were protected in Egypt. But my question is, why did God make it the Pharaoh's choice? Why didn't God just take the people out himself? Why didn't God do that? Why is God going to have his people go through tribulation? Even if you disagree with me on the Egypt thing and his people having to go through the plagues in Egypt, I mean, come on. They were affected too. God only is going to protect his people so far and so much. I think he protected his people from getting sick, from getting the plague. But you don't think those frogs affected them? You don't think those frogs were, and those grasshoppers and locusts, you don't think that those were affecting their crops as well as the others? It was. You don't think that hail fell on their houses and affected their roofs as well as the others? It did. You don't think the people that got sick that were unbelievers, that were in their family, affected them and didn't make them sad and hurt even though they didn't get sick, but the people that were in their family that were unbelievers did? You don't think that didn't make them cry and mourn? And yeah, the people were protected from the plague, from the actual sickness, but they weren't protected from the hail. They got damaged from the roofs, just from the hail, just as anybody else. When the rivers turned to blood, their food got affected just as much as anybody else's food got affected. So let me be clear on that. Yes, God's people were protected, but only so far. Just like in tribulation, it says we're going to have to overcome. We're going to have to endure. It doesn't say, oh, we're just not going to have to endure nothing at all. God's people doesn't have to endure anything at all. We don't have to endure any of the seals. We don't have to endure any of the trumpets. No, that's not what it says. So why would God do that? And instead of answering my questions, you guys want to come and attack me. You guys want to get mad and attack me instead of answering my question. I didn't ask these questions to attack you. I didn't ask these questions to be, oh, I'm oh so holy. I these questions and I made these points because it's a very good point. I can ask the same questions. Why would God do this? Why would God do that? Why would God make us go through tribulation? And for somebody to say that they abide by the law, do you know how cocky that is to say that you abide by the law when nobody abides by the law? And I'm the one that says, and I'm the one that's oh so holy? That's why I don't teach the law. Because I believe in practicing what you preach. You don't like hearing that either. Not that the law is not important. Yes, we should try to be obedient the best we can. But we're going to fail that law every day. And you said so yourself. You repent every day. You cry out to the Father every day. How are my cries any different? How are anybody else's cries any different? Why? Because you teach the law? No. Oh no, my dear. My dear. No. So, as you can see, I do have good points, and I do have good questions. And the other thing I wanted to say before I read what I wrote this morning in my notebook real quick is, I lost my train of thought. I am no holier than anybody else, and I've never claimed to be holier than anybody else. And if you don't like my channel, and all you're going to do is be hateful and say rude things and make slandering videos of me, please do not subscribe. Please do not come to my channel. If you have a question or a concern that you would like to ask me in a nice way, without being rude and calling me names like a liar and things like that, and saying rude, vile things that I'm not even going to reiterate because it is so vile, and I had to take my video down because I reiterated your vile spew, because I don't want nobody else hearing your vile spew. And I had to make that video to defend myself.